Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of the VOD extension series. So I don't think there is anyone watching live, so we will just go ahead and people will probably join later, or if you are watching in replay, welcome to the replay. So we will pick up where we left last time. So we had created this start of a player. We will finish it, but not immediately. So right now we have an HTML5 video. You can see we still have the native Firefox UI. Later we will hide it, but last time we have started work on the custom controls here that will become part of our custom player. So yeah, that's what we did yesterday. And the video in here is a recording of a previous one of our previous streams. I don't remember which one it is. Don't even know. Email whitelist, maybe that was it. So yeah, we have almost 2 hours of live stream, and the test stream here is actually hosted on this platform. It's not really important where it's hosted, but basically here I use Infomaniac VOD product. I just used the free trial to do this. Basically here I can drop my video files and they give me an HLS stream. So when I do embed, I can use their own player, or I can pick up the HLS playlist here, and that's what we have been working with. In the first video, we also used a library called hls.js, and that's how we can play HLS streams in most browsers, because it's not natively supported. Apparently, it is natively supported in on Apple products. So yeah, it's a bit of like how is it called again when you have a JavaScript plugin that patches a feature, but here, yeah, it's not supported in most browsers, but yeah. If we just go through the code here, we had a player component where we had most of the logic we did last time. And we had a test page that just loaded the player, and that's almost all we did. The stream was hard-coded, so the URL to the stream was here in the JavaScript code. So that's not really good, because it means we can only read that one video. So today we will start by implementing the video browsing and editing feature. So nothing too crazy. It will just be a way for administrators to add those URLs, and then they will be displayed in a custom page. So yeah, we will go ahead with that. Otherwise, my extension is in a workbench folder, just like always, and I have a script running here in the JS folder. I'm just running the watch script. So if you are wondering how the JavaScript gets updated, that's because the script is running in my terminal here. So yeah, the JavaScript needs compiling, the PHP doesn't. It's immediately picked up by Flarum. So yeah, first step will be to create the database. So yesterday I just made a first file here, but it's not finished at all. So basically we had created a videos table, and that's a good start. So a video will have a title and a description, and it will have some timestamps, so created at and updated at. Oh, hello Nash, welcome back. Oh, I was confused because it was still saying 0 spectators, but comments start appearing. Yeah, now 1 spectator. Yeah, so today we start with the database at least. So we have the video table, and we will add a few more things because we need some more things. We need the stream, so we will create a column for the HLS. Let's just name it HLS stream. It will contain the URL to the stream. And we actually need another one to make things nice. We need a thumbnail. So for now, we will just store an external URL to serve as a thumbnail. So we are going to do it like this. And this should be pretty much all we need to really get started. So if I now run, so if I go to my forum, so Flarum 1.4 here, I can run php Flarum migrate. I could also disable and re-enable the extension, but if I do migrate, now it will run my migration since it had never run before. And now if we go to the database, let me just check. Yeah, I can just open this. So if I go to the database, I already refreshed here the page, and we should be able to see a new videos table here. So it was automatically created from the migration, and there is nothing inside, but we can see the columns. So yeah, good start. I will put this back on my other screen. And now let's get started with some of the code for that new table. So we will need, I will keep the chat open on the other screen. We need a model. So let's create an eloquent model for video. And this class, so we are on the PHP side, extends the abstract model from Flarum. And here we can specify that the table for that model is called videos. We could skip this because Laravel and by extension Flarum will automatically guess the table name based on the class here. But I like to specify it every time because if you are making an extension, you will usually prefix your tables with your developer name, so that if another extension does something different but also calls it videos, you can still use them together. But right now, I'm not going to prefix the database table, but that's where you would prefix, you would include the full name, the same name that you use here in the migration. So if I go back to my model, that's almost all we need. I like to document the properties, so you don't really need to do this, but I like to do it because then it's useful with the auto-completion in PHP Storm and in other tools. So here we had title, which was a string, we had description, which was a string, we had HLS stream, we had thumbnail ID, and then we had property, the date, so we had created at, and we had updated at. And here we can also tell the eloquent model that we want the timestamps to be automatically set. So it means when we create a new video, it will automatically set the created at value. All good. Next, we need to add some API endpoints so we can go through those videos and create new ones. So for that, we'll create a new folder. I will just call it controller. And here we will have, so I can call this one maybe video index controller, or I never know how. There are a few keywords that are commonly used. Sometimes list, sometimes index. We'll just use, I will use list here. So video list controller. And maybe for now, let's do also the video create controller. And no, we need a third one at least, but we will have more later. Video show controller, because we will actually need this one. The next step, so here we can extend some classes. So Flarum has some classes. So there is an abstract list controller, which we can reuse for the listing. For the show, there is an abstract show controller, which we can reuse. And each time I implement the abstract methods. And for create, we can do extend abstract. I don't remember if there is one. Yeah, there is one. because a lot of them do the same thing. They just change the status code of the response. Yeah. Something else we will need here is a serializer to tell those controllers how a video looks like when returned from the API. So let's create video serializer. I will put this one next to the model. In big extensions, you will see usually it's stored in different namespaces, but here this will be just fine. So abstract serializer, and here you have a few ones you can choose from. It will actually work if you use a obscure class, but you should use the one from Flarum. So it's abstract serializer from Flarum API serializer. And again, we can implement the default method. And here we have a few things to do. So this method should return an array. And I like to type int it, even though it's not type hinted in Flarum. So here we return the attributes we want to make public, or at least anyone who can see the return value from the API will be able to see this. So we will show the title. And what I can also do here is just type hint this. So I will rename it to video. And I will type hint the video as a video object. And now you can see I have the color here from PHP Storm because it recognizes the attribute as one I have documented in the properties. And we will have the HLS stream. Here there is no definite convention, but usually I use snake case for the attribute names in the database. But I use camel case for the API attributes. So yeah, but you don't have to. You can keep snake case everywhere if you prefer, or you can use camel case everywhere. Yeah, and one more thing we need here is to tell what the type will be called. So here you can also use anything you want as long as it's not already used by Flarum. And ideally, you will also prefix this because it will conflict with other extensions. Often you will use something very similar to the table name. For now, I will just call it videos. Some people, they use singular, but Flarum itself uses plural here for this type. This type is what is returned in the API request, and this will be the same name you use for the JavaScript store. Yeah, we just check that everything is still running. I think it is. Yep. Perfect. Now to use the serializer, so we need to tell the controller that it has to use this serializer. So here we can use the serializer property and just have video serializer class like this. And the data attribute, the data method just need to return an array. Later we will need to paginate the results, but for now let's just do it without any pagination. So we can just do video, we can create a new query, we can order by creation date, for example, created at descending order, and we will just do get. And this class will automatically see this is an array. I mean, it has to be an array. It will take the array, and for each element in the array, it will use the serializer class to create the output. And just so we can make the other classes. So the show controller, again, there is a serializer. And here we will return a single model. So here we can do return video query, and here we can just use find or fail, and we take an ID, and the ID will come from the request. So we will do that just in a second. We will have the query params. So by default, a query param is something you pass as a query string, but we will make it part of the URL. We'll do that in a second when we create the root. So if I just do it like this, array get, and we will take the param named ID. and it will automatically throw an error if it cannot be found. So yeah, let's do it like this. And finally, the create controller. So this one we will just we'll handle later, but for now let's create a hard-coded video. So let's just do video equals new video, then video title equals test video, video description equals hello world, and let's just do it like this for now, and then return video, but we need to save the video so it exists. So let's just do it like this for now, and later we will allow customizing those values. Yeah, I can also type hint this, it's not really needed, but PHP Storm is not happy when I don't do it, so oh yeah, here, let's just not put it like this. Next, so this class right now is not referenced anywhere, that's why it's grayed out here. So let's create a root for that. So I can add it here. So new, extend roots, extend the API roots, and then we will have post to videos. We can name the root video.store, and it will use the controller create video controller, and then we do the same for 3 other ones. So we will have get video. This one will be the list controller. First parameter is URL to the page. I mean, maybe first, so the method name in PHP will be the HTTP method name. So you can have multiple routes with the same URL if they have different methods. The second parameter then is just a unique name for the root. It's not really important if you don't plan for your extension to be extended by other extensions, but other extensions can look for your root by that name. And then here we give the controller. And last one, for the get of a single video, we'll add a parameter. So call it ID, put it in brackets, call this one video.show, and here we can use show. All good. So now let's try this out. So if I go back to my site here, if I go to video, to API/videos, you can see we have an empty list. And if I go to a given video ID, I get a model not found, 404 error, since there is no video with that ID. Now we will just create a post request just to test this out. So just if I use here the Firefox, I will use the Firefox resend feature to modify the request. So just here I have this request to API videos. I will just make a post request and not include anything else. Just do it like this. And now we have a 400 error. Let's see what happened here. CSRF token mismatch. Oh yeah, so we need to, yeah, we could have a few different ways to do that. Let's just pick the CSRF token is somewhere in here. So let's just copy it from the other request. And we will add it to this new request. So how do we add a new header again? I think if we do it like this, post, send. Okay, you can see response 201. So it has created a new video, and we can see here in the response, we have a new video that has the title that we hard-coded. And I don't even know how to pronounce your name, Skivo or Eskivo, not sure how you pronounce it. Yeah, PHP Witchcraft. Yeah, we are doing the basics right now, but yeah, it's it's a bit of the extreme already of the, how is it called again, the model view framework. When you create a class for each thing, you have a class for each, you have a model for each kind of data, then you have classes that return the data, you have classes that format the data, but it's pretty industry standard. So yeah, sometimes in Laravel you could reduce the number of classes. You could put everything in a single controller here instead of creating 3, but it's mostly the same. I already forgot what I was trying to do. Oh yeah, I was trying to go to the database. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. So if I go back to the database, you can see that now we have a video. And actually, if we run this again, you will see it just creates a second video with the exact same title, but now it's ID 2. And if I come back here, we have a second one. Okay, so we will do something better later, but right now, if we refresh the get/videos, you can see that now we have 2 results, and those are our 2 videos. And just to have something we can play with, we will actually use the stream here. So this one was, so it was the email validation, I think. So we will just copy the HLS stream and put it in the database. So let's just put this here. Name this video, what did I say again? Email validation. I think it was that tutorial. And we need a thumbnail URL, and luckily, to reduce the work for now, we can copy one from here. So I think it's this one. Yeah, I think we can just check what it looks like. Yeah, we can just copy this picture from here. Perfect. And what we can do is maybe, now we will add the second video later. For now, let's just, is it a course request? Right now, it's not, I'm doing it from the dev tools, so course is not important here because it's doing it from the main domain. But the CSRF token, it's just because the post requests are protected so that you cannot post cross-domain to an API endpoint. Course would not really prevent doing the course prevent reading data from the other domain mostly, but it does not prevent performing a request that sends data to a domain. So the API is protected against cross-request forgery. Yeah, that's where you put a form on another website and you manage to trick the user into submitting the form, and it sends something to Flarum API, and then it will, for example, create a discussion on behalf of the user. But with CSRF tokens, it's not possible because the other website has no way to get the CSRF token. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't understand what I'm saying, yeah, it will be hard to follow, I guess, but yeah, I will try to be as clear as I can. So right now, so we can list the videos, we can show a video, so I can also show you that. So if I do /1, I get information about the video number 1, and we tested the post request. Now let's use those requests to populate the front end. So we had the page here. We will create another page. For now, let's keep this page in place. That's fine. We'll create some new pages. So let's create one called list, or maybe video index page, and then video show page. Like this. And so we will create a new class, export default class, video index page, extends. So will the autocomplete work today? No. So I will just copy paste the import from here. So we create a new page, we extend the Flarum base page, then we can use the view function. And here we can use a container like this. Then let's just put a title. Title will just be videos plural, and later we will add the videos underneath here, like this. And then I will just copy paste this to the show, and this one I will just put singular for now. Video, this one is called video show page. Next, we can register those pages. So go back to the index JavaScript. What's going on here? Link. Oh, it's the wrong import, but it works because of the Flarum logic. So, yeah, thanks for the compliments. We will add some new routes here. So we will have videos. Let's just call it videos index, and it will be video index page, and we will have video show, videos show, and video show page. Maybe I can keep it singular. So the URL for the first one will be just /videos, and the other one will be /videos. And here the syntax is a bit different from the backend. It's just a column and then a name for the parameter. So this one we call ID again. Just put it like this in the URL. And next we need to tell the backend that those pages exist, just like we did not last week, just yesterday. So here again we tell that there is a page called videos and one called videos. And here we need to use the backend syntax again, so like this. And this one will be called videos.index and videos.show. And we can use the same name that we put here, because those names must only be unique to the root namespace here, the front-end name. So those are unique to the API and those are unique to the forum. And you can also reuse them for the admin. There is no conflict because it's completely separated in Flarum. So now so we don't see the page in the menu because I didn't put it there. Maybe I will put it because we will click there a lot. So let's just add a second link here. So maybe let's keep the one we had. Let's rename the one we had test, and now change the new one. This one will be called let's call it videos. Keep the same icon, but this one goes to /videos. If we refresh the page here, now we have no, I need to change the unique name here, the key. So this one will be called videos. This one will be called VOD-test. Refresh the forum. Okay, so now we have the two links. So the test goes to the page we had before, and the videos goes to the brand new page that we just made, but it just has a title. Now we want to load the videos from that we just tested before. So we want to load this. We'll just put this back on my other screen. Yeah, so we want to load this information from the /API/videos into this page. So to do that, we need some more code in the JavaScript here. So what we will do is have an array of videos. And this array will contain the videos, and then here in the page we will do this.videos.map, and we will show the video. But we need some more stuff. So maybe I can already put the link. So if I just put here, so we can use an element in Flarum called link. It allows to create internal links inside of the single page app. So I can create a link. The link will have an href of /video plural /. So here we will need the ID, but currently we don't have access to it. And here we will show the title of the video. Here, I think. Video title. But right now we don't have access to that information. So what will the array contain? It will contain models. So let's create a model, a JavaScript model for the video. So I create a folder here. We can put it anywhere, but I like to create models folder, and we create a new class called video. Export default class video, and it will extend a class called model that we can import from Flarum. So import model from Flarum common model. And we can define some methods. The ID will automatically be there, but we need to tell it that we have some other attributes. So title will be an attribute called, so we have a lot of repeat here because we need to give it a name on the JavaScript model, and we need to give here the name in the API, but often it's the same. So I can just copy paste this. Next we will have the description equals description. Next we will have HLS stream equals HLS stream, and thumbnail URL equals thumbnail URL. And if you use TypeScript, you can also tell here Flarum what the type of each attribute is. So since each one of these is a string, I will just put the string here. And finally, we need to tell Flarum that the model exists. So this is a bit similar to root. You use app, but now we go to the store, models, and here we add a new model. So we give it a name or like a unique key. So this is the one we put in the serializer. So in PHP we had videos, so here we have the same name. And we put a reference to the video model class here. So this tells Flarum that there is a type of data called videos, and it needs to be handled with the video class here. Next, we can update our array on the index page. So now the array is no longer just an empty array, a generic array. Now it's an array of videos. So this is just TypeScript. So I tell the array that it will be an array of videos. So now it means that this object here that we map through is a video. So now here we can replace this with video dot, if I type it correctly, so ID, it's a method that will always exist on each model. And here the title we can replace with video dot title. And you can see the title here is the one we just defined, and you can see even PHP Storm knows that it's a string because we put it here. So this is all we really need to get started. Maybe just to have a list, so we will put we'll put this in a UL block, and then each link, instead of being just the link on its own, it will be inside of a list item. So this way we will have something that doesn't look too bad to start with. So yeah, now how do we fill up this array? We will use the onInit callback. So similar to what we did yesterday with to load the video, but it was onCreate that we used in the player. Here we can use onInit, which executes even a bit earlier, even before the view is rendered for the first time, because we just need to load information into the array here. So we can use a method on app, so we can do app.store.find, and we will find some videos. And actually we don't need to pass any other parameters because we want all videos. So usually this would only return the first page, but since we don't have pagination yet, it will essentially return all the videos in the database. And here we can then do videos. So we will get an array of videos by doing this. But this is asynchronous, so this is a callback on the, it returns a promise, and then when the promise is ready, we get an array of videos, and then we can put the videos on there. And here we can also tell, because this is TypeScript, we can tell Flarum that we are looking for an array of videos. So we know that doing this will return an array of videos, so that way Flarum is happy. And last thing we need to do is tell Flarum that we should redraw, because it will not automatically redraw when an API request is finished. And if we try that, refresh the page, so we almost don't see it because it's so fast. But if I add some throttling here, not sure that's a good idea, but if I just put, for example, that we are on 2G and I refresh the page, you should be able to see that first the Flarum app is loading. This might take a while. I'm not sure that was a good idea. Okay, then the page loads and you can see a few seconds later the list loads. And if we look at the network tab here, we can see that first there was a request to load the front end, and then here we load from the API. And yes, yes. So we don't have pagination yet. We should add it. It's really not a good idea to publish any extension without pagination. But it's one of the things we will do later because it takes some time to implement, and we don't really need it for most of the work we will do first. So. Oh, we didn't try clicking on the links. So if I go here, you can see it loads the page with /1, but nothing appears because we have not added any logic to that page. Let's remove the throttling. Just go back to the list of videos. So yeah, we have the videos. Maybe we can show the thumbnail. So if I go back here, we only had the title, so now I will create a block called video title, and then I will add an EMG tag, and the EMG tag will be called video thumbnail, and the EMG here will use src, and the src value will be video.thumbnail URL. And the alt text can be the video title. So only one of our videos has a thumbnail, I believe, right now. And it's not even loading, so did I put it correctly? Which one is email? So this one is supposed to have. So the src is not visible, so we just go back. Oh, it's not called. So thumbnail URL, serializer. Okay, so somehow I messed up here. It's not. It's not called thumbnail ID. It's called thumbnail URL. I just need to fix it here. It was a typo when I documented my parameter, and then I used the autocomplete, so I got the wrong one. So if we refresh, okay, great. So now we have the thumbnail, but the other one doesn't have an SRT value yet. So yes. Now let's open the video when we click on the link. So here we need to load information about the video. So to do that, we do something similar. So this was the index where we get the list of all videos. Now let's go to the show page and we will do something similar. Now we will have video, but we will have a single video. And we can call it like this. And so here in this case, we will store video or null, because we will keep the value null until it's loaded. And what we can do is, as long as we have no video, we will just return a container, and we will just say loading. So we put a paragraph and just say loading. So this way, in the view, if this video is null, only this code will run. Now, when we reach this code, we will know that this.video exists. So now we can do this.video.title here, and we can put the description in a paragraph underneath, like this. Yeah. Yeah, good luck on the work on Free Flarum. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot there as well, even if it's Python. There's a lot of similarities between. It's programming after all. Yeah, so see you later maybe. So here we do the same as before. We do onInit. And here I'm just changing the typings because I don't need the full typings. Inside of onInit, we will load this video. So how do we know which video to load? It's part of the URL. So we have the number here. So what we can use is again the find method. So we can do app.store.find, but this time we will need two parameters. We say that we look for a video, and then we say that we look for a number. So it could be just 1. I don't remember if I need. Yeah, that's the correct syntax. You can see there are multiple signatures for that method. The one we are looking for is ID as a string, because IDs are technically a string. But so we don't want to hardcode 1, we want to get the URL parameter, and we can do that by using a mitchell function, m.root.param. And this method allows us to get the name of a parameter. So here you can see we put this one column ID. So the name is ID. So you can just put name ID here, and this function will return the value currently in the URL. So in this case, 1. And now the logic is very similar, except it will return a single video. And what I can do here is this.video equals video. And again, redraw. And we can also tell the code that this will return a single video. And now, if I come back to my page, you can see again for a split second, we see loading. And then here we can see the API request to get the number 1, and it shows the number 1. If I show the number 2, it will load the number 2. And we can take a look what happens if we put another number. So if we put 3, we will have an error. So ideally, we should handle this a bit better. There are multiple ways. We will see that in another episode. But at least here you can see you get the error from Flarum because the API request returned an error. And then you see it just gets stuck on landing because loading, because it never gets the video. Two things you could do is handle the error here on the page and show a different text. But usually you also do a request on the PHP side and you return a 404 HTTP error. So we will do that maybe in another episode of the series. But for now, we'll just concentrate on the regular use case. So now let's show the video. So we have the HLS stream. So if I do here HLS stream, you can see I can show it on the page. So now we just want to show this inside of the player. So let's modify the player a bit. So you can see here the player, that's the code we did yesterday. The SRC is hard-coded here, which is not very good since we want to change it. So we will use component attributes for this. So we have not used that yet. So since this is TypeScript, I can create an interface just to document my attributes. It's not really required, but it's good for TypeScript because I get auto-completion. So I can tell that I'm creating attributes that extends component attributes. So I can import the basics component attributes from here. And I can say that my attributes extend the default attributes. And one of my attributes will be called, can I just call it HLS stream? Maybe even just HLS. So let's say that we want a parameter named HLS, which will be a string. And then we can tell the component like this, that this component should receive this. And to access this value, we will edit the code here. So instead of having the string, we will do this.attributes dot, and you can see it automatically completes. I can access my new HLS attribute. And what we can do here is, yeah, maybe I will just cut that string. I will put that in my how do we call it? No, the name in French. The key. What is it called when you copy paste something? Clipboard. So now I can put this back here. HLS. The thing I wanted to do is on the test page that we created yesterday, we will again hardcode the value, but now we just hardcode it as an attribute. So if I can put my hardcoded value here, and it's passed in an object called, and we call the key HLS, and then the player is able to read that value. But when we load our custom video here, we can do player.component, and here HLS will not be a hard-coded string, it will be the one from the model, like this. And if I refresh the page, ta-da, we see the video. And just to make sure that it works, we want to implement the other one. So let's just go to the database. Yeah, here. So we hard-coded the first one. Let's just hard-code the second one. So my other test file, what was it here? I will add some more files for the next episodes. But I have these two that I can work with, so just copy this. So the stream, not this one, so this one is, I will call that one charging test. It's about electric vehicles. So the stream will be this URL, and the thumbnail will be this. I can put it in the database. Now if I refresh, so I should have my two thumbnails, perfect. And if I click on this one, I should see, yep, the other video. And if I go back to the first one, so yeah, now we can switch between the videos. What next? Let's just yeah, let's add an interface so we can edit the title. I think this will be a good start to this. So let's say that we want to change the title of this video, but we don't want to go in the database, of course. We want to do it here. So to do that, we will create a new component. Let's create a video edit, and we'll use a modal. So let's create a modal. Export default class video edit modal extends modal, and modal is a class from Flarum. Flarum common components modal, and the modal has a content function. Here it's not called view because there is a view function, but the view returns the whole HTML for the modal. We only want to change the content, so there is a method here we can override, which is created by Flarum. I mean, not really override. I think it's like it's an abstract function technically. So we can override. We can implement, not override. Implement that. We also need to implement title, and Flarum also wants us to implement class name. So class name, we can just do modal small. So this is a class from Flarum. We just tell it we want a modal of size small. Title will just be, so edit video. It will just be a hard-coded text for now. And the content will be, so we will have some fields here. So let's return an array. Let's create some form groups. You might notice that there are two syntaxes to create templates. You can use GSX, which is an HTML-like syntax, or you can use object notation here. I prefer the object notation because I find it easier to refactor, but it makes no difference in the output. It's just a developer preference here. Yeah, so we will have the title. So let's just create an input type text to edit the video title, and then another one to edit the video description, and that one we will just use a text area. And yeah, so if we just create the modal like this, then we can open it from here. So let's add a button. We'll add the button, where do I put it? Below the description maybe. So let's create a button. We will use the button component from Flarum, so I can import that one. It's also in the common namespace. Next, I can give it an icon, so I will use the pen icon. I will call the text inside edit, and when you click, I will do app.modal.show, and I will show my modal. So video edit modal. Like this. I also need to give the button a class name. So we'll just give it the class name of button, which is another class from Flarum. Let's see how it looks like. So we can see I have my edit button, and if I click, it opens my brand new modal. The modal is a bit broken because we didn't style it. Actually, we can fix that pretty easily just by using some Flarum class names. Actually, I'm missing one here. So we can use modal body. And so if we use modal body to wrap the content, now if I take a look, I will have the background and the paddings. And now if I want to make the fields look nice, I can also use some classes. There is form control from Flarum. So I can just put that class on those two fields. And now it looks really Flarum-like. This is the standard Flarum styling. We need something more. We need a save button. So let's add a save button. Form group. And here we will put a button. So here we can again use the button from Flarum. This button will be a submit button because it's a form. Can call it save, and I can import. So I will copy the import from the other file like this, and I think I need the class name as well. So let's just put button and maybe button primary. Let's see how it looks like. Click edit. Yeah, now we have a save button, except, oh, yeah, something happens. So you can see it's just reloaded the page when I clicked on it. And we can see why. That's because if we take a look at the HTML code, you can see that a modal is always a form. So you can see here there is a form element. We didn't create it ourselves. We only created the modal body here that we can see inside of the form. So by using a submit button here, it will submit the form here. You don't really need to use that feature, but the nice thing is that this form already has a callback. So we can use the onSubmit callback here to do something with the submit of the form. And the reason to use a form and not just an on-click handler is that by doing it this way, it means that if you do Control-click, Control-enter while you are filling the form, it will submit the form automatically, and we can hook into that so that you don't accidentally just insert new lines or do something else. So it's standard browser feature to be able to submit a form with Control-enter. So by doing it like this, we use all the browser features to submit a form. So the user doesn't absolutely need to click the save button. Now, inside of here, so you can see when we clicked, it refreshed the page. That's because the form has no target. So it means that since there are no parameters, it submits the form to the same URL and using the get method. In our case, we don't want the form to submit anywhere. We want to handle it with JavaScript. So what we do here is just event.preventDefault, and we will handle the form with JavaScript. Next thing we can do is tell the modal that something is loading. So there is a property on the modal already. You can just tell the modal that, yep, things are happening, it's loading. So we can see if we check what happens. I don't think there is any visual feedback by default. So yeah, we don't see anything right now. So what we can say here is that when we click and submit the form, we want to go into loading mode, and so we will do our own styling. So we will tell the button that it should have a loading state if the this.loading is true. And what we can also do here is disable the fields, so you don't modify them while it's submitting. So we can do disabled. Can tell that this field is disabled once when it's loading, and same thing with the text area. So if we check again how it looks like, you can see that when we click save, the fields become grayed out and it spins. Of course, it will spin forever since we don't do anything else here. Next step, we want to make a request. And where do we want to make a request? Actually, we don't have the endpoint yet. So let's create the controller that we will call. So it will be called video update controller. Actually, what we do here, we just copy the show controller, and we will do a bit more logic in between. So first we get the video, which is the same code as before, and at the very end we will return the video. But in between we want to do a few things. First, we need to validate that the user who is making the request is allowed to change the video. So for now, we will do something very simple. We will get the user and check if it's an admin. Later, we can add some more complex permissions. So to get the user, there is a class called requestUtil in Flarum. And you can call a static method called getActor, and it takes the request as a parameter. So we have request is a parameter here, so we can pass it here, and we get an actor. And then we can just do a check. There is a function called assertAdmin. So when we call this, if the user is an admin, the code will continue. If the user is not an admin, an error will be thrown. This is the easiest way to protect an API endpoint. Next, we will update the video. So we will take the title. So what will be the new title? We have to pull it from the request as well. So I think I will directly do it properly. So usually when we send an update request, we use the JSON API syntax. So it means we create an array of attributes, and we put those in the JSON body. So it will be request, so request get parsed body. So this function gets the body already parsed from JSON, and then we will take an object called data, and inside of data there is an object called attributes. and we can do it, yeah, like this. So now we have access to an array of attributes. And then we can use again the array helper, and then in attributes there will be an attribute called title and an attribute named description. And finally we can do video save before returning it again. Now to send those attributes, we need to use a method on the front end, and if I go back here, the easiest is to use a method on the model. So we need to get access to the model. So to do that, we will create a new attribute again. So no, what am I saying? So model is a component, and just like we did for the player, we will say that this model will receive some attributes. And this one we can extend from, so here it's called internal modal attributes. So this is just the typings for TypeScript. So we tell the modal that it will receive an attribute named video, and it will be a video model. Next, I can put this here, and now inside of here I can call this dot attributes dot video dot save, and here we give it a title and a description. And Flarum will automatically put those attributes inside of a data and attributes blocks in the JSON. And this will be a promise, and when the promise is complete, we will call nothing special here. We will actually just close the modal. I need to import app, I think. We'll just copy this from another file. Import app from Flarum forum. Yeah, so when it's saved, we close. Now here we want title and description to come from the fields. So there are a few ways to do it, but if we want to do it the correct Mitchell way, we can use attributes here. So we will save title. Title is a string, and description is also a string. And now we will bind those fields to those attributes. So yeah, this one has the same name as the function, so we need to call it something else. So let's call it title value. And here we can say that the value of the field is this dot title value, and when it changes, we can take the event, and we can do event.target.value, and we can put it here. So there is an helper function in Flarum called withAttribute. Actually, we can use it here. Let's just use it. Thing is, it's not really saving any space in the final file, so yeah. So it's in utils, I think. Yeah, let's just use this. So we can say that on change, we want to take the value attribute from the field, and we will save it on the title. So value like this. And we know it will be a string. And now we can do something very similar for the text area, except it's a description. And now here we can do this title value and this dot description. So now if we try again, the fields are still empty, but it should work. So let's just put alternate name and try it. Nothing happened. So let's take a look at the code here. this.at.video is undefined. Oh yeah, because we didn't pass the video. So here when we open the modal, now we are supposed to give it a video. So video this.video like this. And we know it will be defined. No, what's happening? Oh yeah, because we need to use an arrow function, so that way we still have access to this. All good. Refresh the page. Click edit. Alternate name. Save. Okay, so we have an error. Method not allowed. That's because we have created the update controller, but we have not registered it. So put it here. So update controller, and this one is actually a put. Is it put or patch? I think it's patch. It's a patch method on video ID. And the reason Flarum can guess where to make the request is because this is the same name as the model in the JavaScript. So it will automatically guess the URL, but we need a bit more logic if that address is not the same. But here it will work just fine. So alternate title, save, and you can see it immediately changed because it was updated in the store. But if we go back to the database, we can see, yep, it was changed and description was set to blank. One last thing we can do to make the edit modal work as intended is to pull the current value when you click edit, because we want to fill the field. So we can do this in onInit again. So if I implement onInit in the modal, I can do this dot title value equals this dot attributes dot video dot title, and same thing for the description. And we know the video is a parameter, so we can pull that value, that initial value. Finally, we refresh the page, and now we have the text. So it will just save the same text again if we click save. Now the title didn't change since it sent the same value, and now we have again a description. So that's how we will do it. Right now everyone sees the edit button, so even if I go as a guest, if I click edit, I can see this, but if I try to edit, it will tell me you do not have permission. So we will fix that later, because that button will not stay there anyway, so it's not really important right now. Yeah. Okay, so there is no longer anyone watching live, I think. So we will do a quick break, and I will be back, and I think we will continue on the player after the break. So yeah, see you in a few minutes. And we are back. And it's super dark again. I did change it, but I guess now that it's getting dark for real, it's still not enough. Yeah, so is anyone back from... No, on the stream, no, still no one watching live. So we'll just continue. I thought of another thing I wanted to add. It will not be the final version of it, but let's just store where we are in the video, so we can continue the video from where we left off. So later we will have to store that for each user. That's a bit of a complicated part, to store it for each user. And what I'm actually planning to do is even to store it per profile. Later I want to create a watch profile and then store how much you have watched on that profile. That way you can have a single account and multiple profiles, just like on regular streaming websites like Netflix and Disney Plus. You can have different profiles. So we will do that in another episode. I'm not sure how much will be on stream, but if we continue the series, this is something we will do later. For now, let's just assume that there is a single user watching all the videos and nobody else, and we'll store the current status. So it will not work in practice, because if a second person tries to watch the video, then it will pick up where they left off, and if two people are watching at the same time, it will be a mess. But just to show how it would work on the client side, the server side will be improved later. So we will add a new column here, so it will be an integer, unsigned integer, and it will be called current time, just like in the JavaScript. So, and let's make it nullable, so that we know that the video has not been played before when it's null, and when it's not null, it will contain which time in the video we are at. And we will store only seconds. We don't really care about milliseconds for this, since it will not be very accurate anyway if you close the browser when it didn't save. So yeah, let's do it like this. Now, problem is we cannot just add a column like this, because the migration has already run. So we will have to roll back the migration and then run it again, but it will destroy the data that we have. So what I will actually do is, if I have not been logged out, yep, so we will do an export. We will export the table here. How is it called again? Did I change? Yeah, let's just rename this back to what it was. So it was what was the title? Email validation. So let's just export this as SQL. So yeah, SQL. Okay, and can I just dump? Wasn't there a way to dump to the screen previously? Yeah, I don't know. Let's just execute this. Okay, so now I have my file. I will just open that. Actually, I don't even know where it will open, so let's just open it from here. Does it open the folder? No, it opens the file. Okay, perfect. So here we just have the SQL. So now we have the SQL, so we can destroy the table and we will be able to create back what we had. So since I modified the migration, I can run the roll, I think it's called reset migration, and I can tell it that I want to drop all migrations, to revert all migrations from an extension, and that extension is my extension here. So that's unique ID, and we can see my migration was rolled back. So now I can run it again, and since I changed it, now my database here has a new column. And I can just run the SQL here just to get my information back. So let's just copy this, run this, and we are back to where we were, but now we have a new column. If you are making an update to your extension, you will create a new migration to add the new column. But since we are still developing, it makes no sense to just create new files and new files in the migrations folder if the user will only install it once when the extension is ready. So yeah, now we have the column. Let's add the code to save that value. So we will do an API request. We will use the save method, just like we did for the modal. But this time we will do it in the player. So now there's a bit of a question. How does the player get access to the video? Because currently the player is not aware of the video record in the database. And does it need to be aware of it? It's always a question when we design the code. Right now, I think we will continue by not having the player being aware of the video. So instead, we will add a new attribute here, which will be a callback that updates the time. So I can do this here. So on how can I call this? On playback progress, maybe let's call it on playback progress, and this will be an optional parameter to the component, but if it is provided, then it will be a callback that returns void but takes the time as a number in parameter. And then I can use this when I am on the video show page. So here I can add this to the player. So I can say when there is progress, I will take the time, which is a number, and I will save it on the video. So this.video.save, and I will have current time will be the time that was passed as a parameter. And we don't need to provide any feedback for this, it will just happen in the background. And the player will be the one choosing how often that callback is called. Maybe, yeah, let's handle the backend right now. So you can maybe see a problem with the code we did before is that when we called save, we always passed the title and the description. And the code in the backend here takes the title, the description, and saves them. But now, when we call our new code, we only pass the time. So if we keep the same code and just add current time and current time, like, no, is it current? How did I call it? Yeah, current time, okay. Can also document it here. So if we keep this code, the problem is that when we update the current time, it will destroy the title and description. This will return null, and then it means it will be set to an empty string in the database. So we need to change this code a bit. Instead of always setting the title, description, and current time, we only want to do it if they were given as a parameter. So here we can do if array exists. So if we have the title, then we will update the title. And then I can just do something very similar. So if there is a description, I update the description. If there is current time, I update the current time. And something we can also do is that if we switch the code to be like this, now usually we might want to move the check for permission. So now we can just do like this. Like this, because these two actions are only for admins. However, this one, for now, let's just, can we do assert registered? Yeah, so right now, let's say that anyone, even if they are not an admin, it will update the current time. But still, it updates the current time for everyone, so this will be changed later. But right now, anyone who is registered will be able to do this. Maybe... No, let's just keep it like this. One problem with this code is that if a guest plays a video, it will still call this code, and this code will throw an error, and they will see the error on screen. So let's just add a check on, so where is it? The video show, yeah, here, before we call that code, we'll just check if the user is logged in. So if app.session.user, so if no user is connected, we will just return, because guests, in the future, it will make no sense to save the progress for guests, since you don't have a profile, so we have nowhere to store the information. So let's just keep it like this for now. Now we need this callback to be called sometimes, so let's change the code here. So we will do that in, I think we will do this in the frame. No, actually, we have a few different options, but so we have a loop here. So we have the animation frame, which runs all the time. I think it runs maybe 30 or 60 times per second. So this might seem like a good place to put some code that needs to check if something changed and react based on it. The problem is that this code does not actually run when the tab is in the background. So in our case, that's not good, because we still want to save the progress if you are playing the video in the background. So we will change this. Instead, we will use just a callback, I think. So let's do a playback report callback. Let's do it like this. Is that... is that going to work? Let's just store a number here, which will be 0 by default. So this will be the number of a callback. And the way we are going to do this is next, we can create a new function. So where do I put it? Maybe here. So it will be report progress. And this function will call a set timeout to call itself after. So that's the question. How often do we want to call this code? Maybe for now, let's just say that every 10 seconds we will store where we what the progress is. So let's do it like this. Next, we will just store this callback. Or maybe, no, what did callback? Yeah, so actually I should just call this one timeout. So somehow I'm not sure why my PHP Storm is complaining here, because I think there is some Node.js typings, because timeout is supposed to return a number, but as number, no, it's not happy, so I'll just put as any. Yeah. And I can start this loop here as well, so just the same place where we start the animation frame. And to finish, I can do here clear timeout this dot timeout. So this way, so this function runs every 10 seconds, even if the tab is in the background, but it stops when you remove the component. And now what we do here is to call the function. So this dot attributes dot and on playback progress. And we call this function and we give it this dot video dot current time. Oh yeah, and we need to check if it exists. So, so we need to check if it exists. So, so we need to check if it exists. So, so we need to check if it exists. So, so we need to check if it exists. So, so we need to check if it exists. So, so we need to check if it exists. So, so we need to check if it exists. So, so we need to check if it exists. So, so we need to check if it exists. So, if it exists, we do the thing. Since you might play the video but not provide this. Now, we can add a bit more code, because now if you pause the video, it will still send this request every 10 seconds, which is not really needed. So what I will do here is just to store the last reported time and check if it changed. So last reported time number equals 0. Yeah, for now let's just do it like this. Yeah. Next, I can update the value here. So this. So I can do new time. Actually, I need to round up the value here because we said it will be the number of seconds. So we need to round up this one. Finally, we will do the time, last reported time will become the new time. And in between, we can just check if new time is different from last reported time, then we do this stuff. Actually, we can put all of this here. And we need the new time to be passed. Like this. So now I think this should work. So let's just try it out. Let's take a look at the network console, because that's where stuff will be happening. So it's just loading the video right now. We had a request to 1, but it was a get request to get the video. And nothing else is happening. Let's check if this still works. So if I update the title, okay, so that still works. Now let's play the video and see if anything happens. So yeah, we can see the timer here going down, and let's wait for about 10 seconds, and something happened, but it was a 500 error. So let's just pause the video. Okay, so we can see there was a second request, but now there should no longer be any other because the time is no longer going up. Column not found, current time. Did I misspell? I think I didn't use snake case here. Yes, okay, so I think that's what messed things up, and PHPStorm is not happy because it's not sure that this is a video. Yeah, if I do it like this, now I don't really need to refresh the page. I can just play again, and we'll see if there is a next request in about 10 seconds. Okay, so there was a new request, and this one was successful. So let's just pause again. I think there will still come a second request at some point. We can see the request contains a time, and we can check in the database. Was it saved? Yes, it was saved. So it's working. Now let's give access to that value to the front end. So we can have current time equals the value. So we are in the serializer, we return the value from the database, and now we want that when you click to play the video, it continues at that time. And I think there is a handy way to do that. It's just to add a query string at the end of the HLS parameter here. So I can just do a condition. So if this.video. So we need to add the name here as well. So it will be current time. Yep, and current time is either a number or null. So if there is a current time, then we will add the t parameter with the time. I think that's how it works. And otherwise, we don't show anything. I mean, we don't append anything to the URL of the stream. Let's see if that works, because I think that works. So we should start playback at 28. So let's try that. Let's go back to the list here. Let's refresh the app to get the new JavaScript code. Now let's go to the list. Let's click here and let's see what happens. So will it start at 28? Nope. Seems like that didn't work. Oh, but I have no way to see if... I should log this value just so I can see if it was passed correctly. Because I'm pretty sure that's how it should work. So console.log so I will just move this to just here. Let's just see if it works. So I can just refresh on that page. It should also work. Okay, so this string was added, but it doesn't seem like it works. So maybe let's just check on the HLS.js documentation. Are there multiple documentation websites? I think this is the official place. Is there some information about the t parameter? So yeah, we could change it at load time, but okay, yeah, this stuff here, but you need you need the duration as well. I'm sure I saw an example of this. Yeah, this. Media fragments URI. Okay, so no, this is standard. Okay, so T so yeah, so that's the syntax we want. So yeah, it I know it works with regular files, but I'm sure I saw an example somewhere of it being used with HLSJS as well. But maybe that's not how it works. Start. Okay, so maybe we could call this, but then we just need to change so the source is not... Okay, let's just check how that works. So start load should be... What? No, it's not... Auto start load. Okay, it's true, but start level playlist. So oh, it can... Okay, I can just pass it as a parameter here. Okay, so let's just change a bit how it works. So let's add a new attribute to the player component. So it will be start time. Again, it's an optional parameter. Next, we change the code in the show page. So start time will be the current time here, or just 0. Then I can just revert this. Or maybe, no, let's just put undefined, so that way it will not be used. Yeah. I use undefined because it can be null. So by doing it this way, it will convert null to undefined, which is one of the values we allowed here. With interrogation mark, it means it's a number or it's undefined. So yeah, and now I can just redo the code. So for Apple and native support here, we will actually add it here. So if this dot attribute, if type of this dot start time equals undefined, we will just do nothing else. But if there is, we will add the t and add the value. So unfortunately, we cannot really test that unless we go to an Apple device. So let's just hope that it's correct, and maybe later we can test it. Otherwise, here we need to change when we build HLS, we need to add start. So is it called start time? No, start position. Start position will be this. So it will just end up being, if it's undefined, it should be ignored by HLS. Otherwise, it will be red. So let's see if that works. Now, if we refresh, we should still be at 28 seconds. Oh no, did it reset? Oh no, we see we are at 2 seconds. So we are still. Oh, now it updated. So now we are at 2 seconds. So let's just update this again to just 10 seconds. So it was 28. Not sure the frame rate. I guess it was the number of frames. What's the value? What's the unit? It's not said. Are there some other examples? I assume it must be the number of frames, but it's said nowhere, so. Position in the playlist. Start load 20. No, here it says that's seconds. How does that work? Oh, did I just miss something? And let's just try again. So how much did I set here? So I set 10. So let's just try it again. Let's see. Oh, so actually it's working, but maybe maybe my code is not done the best, because immediately when the player is created, we immediately call the report progress. So maybe we will start the progress by waiting for 10 seconds. So that way we have a bit of time. And something else we can also do is that if we have start time, we can set it to the last reported time will be this. So that way we don't get a request even if you start by pausing. If the video starts paused, for example, if you open in a new tab and the browser prevents the play, or even if you don't play it, it will create a request. So yeah, here, did it say? No, because it went to 10, so I guess it saved 10 again. Yeah. Okay, great, but so let's just try. So if I load the page, there should be no request until I play it. We wait 10 seconds. Okay, I don't see any request, but as soon as I start playing, okay, we will have one and we will have another one 10 seconds later. Great, perfect. And if I scan ahead, let's see, there will be another request at some point. Yep, and if I pause and just refresh the page now, let's see if it picks up at the correct place. Yep, so that's working, perfect. So in a future video, we will save per user instead of global, because right now, anyone who opens the video, it will pick up from here. So that's not a good final implementation, but yeah, so that way we see it works. I still have a bit of time, so let's just do some CSS now for the player. And later I will put the code on GitHub if you wish to take a look yeah, for yourself outside of the stream, because I know it might not always be easy to read. I put the stream at the highest quality I can, but it's not. I'm sure it's not always easy to read the text, and sometimes it's also easy to make a typo if you try to rewrite something. So yeah, we can also drop this old SRC here. We don't really need it. Okay, so let's just do a bit of work, a bit more work on the player. If I just go back to my test page, oh, it's the same stream. Yeah, but let's just stay here. It's the same player anyway. What else do we need? Because we still need the subtitles and stuff, but that's for another time, because I still don't have a test file with subtitles. So right now, maybe let's add the time. Let's add the current time to the playlist. And I think I want to do it YouTube style. So let's just go to YouTube again just to see how it looks. So can I find the... Don't think that's the same video as yesterday, but let's just use... it's a lot of sound. Yeah, so let's just take a look at this one. So here, so we have another train video. This is a typical test video. So I want to do something a bit like the player here, I think. We will put the time below the timeline, and we will not show... I don't really think the time remaining is that useful. There are a lot of... I think the streaming websites, they often tell you how much remains and not how long it is. So, but I prefer the YouTube way. So for now, let's do the YouTube the YouTube style here. So let's put the current time over the total time. So we don't have that information yet. So let's just add that. Now, again, this is something that will change every second. So it's not really a good idea to update it from Mitril. So we will update it outside of Mitril. Now I'm just curious, was the total time? Ah, the duration is also set. Duration is set as a global. What am I saying? No, it's set outside of Mitril. So I think I will change that because I would prefer if the duration was updated with Mitril. So I will actually add a new parameter. It will be called duration. It will be a number. And we'll just set it to 0 by default. Next, I will update the duration here. So when the duration changes, we will do this dot duration equals this dot video dot duration. I mean, I don't really know if that's... Yeah, maybe let's just not use a variable. We don't really need it. So let's just call m.redraw. So if the duration changes, we redraw. So now instead of doing... So we don't need that. So instead, we can just here put duration comes from this dot video dot duration, and we know that okay, so here video might not exist, so we will do like this. So we know that there will be a redraw every time the duration changes, so this code is fine to be put in Mitril. Now if I put the time somewhere, so let's put it here for now. So span dot VOD, let's just call it time for now. And here we will have two things. We will have the total duration and current time. We need to format it. So let's create a function for that. So let's create a new function, helpers, this, and call this one, format seconds, export default function. I'm not sure if there is a method for that in JavaScript, but yeah, let's just have seconds number, and now we can just format the numbers the same way that YouTube does. So YouTube does seconds, minutes, and then hours. I think it just goes on and on. So how do I build the string? So I think I will do it in multiple steps. So seconds. So no, maybe let's just have value. So this will return a string. Value is the number of seconds. So mat dot oh, do we have the modulo? Okay, this is Clark relearns the basics of programmation, but so seconds modulo 60, and then we can add can do it like this, I think, to pad with 0. I know there are some, I think there are even probably multiple npm packages just to pad numbers with 0, but then we can just do subst and how is it again? Is it just -2, 2, I think, to get the last two numbers out of this, the last two chars out of this concatenation? I think it's like this. Then I can do a check. So if seconds is larger than larger or equal to 60, then we will do value plus equals. And now we repeat the thing, but for minutes. So now that's seconds. So mat.floor seconds divided by 60 modulo 60. Yep, I think that's right. And finally, if seconds is larger than 60 times 60, I think I can just hard code it. So if we are in the hours, we do something similar like this. Now we don't need modulo because we just add everything remaining like this, and we don't need the yeah, we don't need the 0 pad here like this. Except I messed up my order here. No, we need to put the current value at the end. So let's just do it like this. Return value. And we can maybe add some documentation. So format a number of seconds to basically each minute seconds. Like this. Yeah. I think that should work. So now if we go back to the player, this one will be called, this one will have a data attribute because we will update it later. So let's just hard code it to 0 because we are going to update it outside of this code anyway. So, but here we format this dot video dot duration like this. What's going on here? Can we import? Yep, all good. So, yep, let's see if we have the total time. Okay, something went wrong. This .video is undefined. Did I just do the same thing again here? Whoops. Is it going to crash? No, still. Actually, do I need... I don't need to render the controls. Don't need to render the controls if the video is not there. So let's just add a big wrapper around the controls. So now we know that this .video is always defined when we render the controls. Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense, I think, because yeah, the video will exist as soon as onCreate runs. So, oh yeah, but it means we need a redraw. But we already needed a redraw, so it should still work. But yeah, I'm not sure what redraws the player the first time after it's ready. No, maybe let's go back. No, because we don't want to trigger a second redraw immediately after the component has been rendered the first time, and that will become required if I'd added this check. So yeah, because all the other buttons, they can exist. It doesn't matter if the component does not redraw because they have a default value, which is sensible. So yeah. So let's just add a check here. So not sure why it's not complaining though. Yeah, let's just keep it like it is. So let's just put the 0 value here as well. See if it works. Am I completely the dark again? Can I change it again? So I did tweak a bit my... Oh, no, now it's... Did it not save? Did I forget to save earlier? Okay, now you can see me again, I guess. What happened? Not sure. Or maybe is it when I switch camera? Nope, not sure what was going on there, but okay, so now you can see me again, I guess. We were waiting for the page to reload. Yes, we have something, but I messed up. So I messed up multiple things, I guess, because somehow there is a leading 0, which should not be possible. The 1 and 51 seem right. However, there is a 36, so I'm really not sure what's going on with that, and it's missing the delimiters. So let's just add the delimiters, which should have been here from the start. So add like this and like this. What's happening with the first part, though? Oh no, the 0 is not a leading 0, it's the other part. Let me add the slash. So here there should be some sort of slash in the middle. Okay, so where is the 36 coming from? Now that's the real mystery. Just going to log this and this. Let's see, is there an obvious... Oh, did I forget to round it? What the hell is that? So yeah, I meant to round it, but I forgot. I don't want to round it up inside of the function because I will do something different for the current time, but so I will round it up here. So I guess that's why it was messing up formatting. Is that the correct value? Oh yeah, now it's okay, now it's good. Not sure, here it's 21, here it's 20. Is it because it's rounded to the closest? Or no, maybe it's rounded up. Let's round up, because otherwise you cannot reach. It means, yeah, there is an, I guess we have the last second that we want to still display, kind of. It's not impacting the timeline, but yeah. Okay, so let's use 21. All right, now let's update the current time. So go to, so we copy this string here, and we will do that in animation frame. And here, yeah, it's similar to the buffer stuff. So we will save what was the last value. So if, so const new current time equals mat.floor. I'm not sure if we should keep floor, but you will not see a lot of, not a big difference. So mat.floor of this.video.current time. So we get a round number of seconds. Now if new current time is different from this.last current time, so we'll create that variable, and then in here we will do this element.query selector, get this element, and then do text content equals format seconds of new current time. So that way it will only be updated once per second at most. Last current time number equals 0, and 0 is fine since it's also oh yeah, do we show minutes all the time? Oh yeah, because here it shows, not actually sure. So YouTube, yeah, YouTube, does it, okay, it shows a leading 0. Okay, so I will use the same format. So let's just, here we will hard code the same value that we will get for 0. And here we can do the same as well. And next in here, we will just do another check. So if value, no, I guess we can just run. Oh no, how does it pad? Ah, it only pads the 0. So let's just change the code here. So we can actually remove the padding here. No, we need the padding if how do I do this? So let's do const minutes equals so this is the value for the minutes. Like this, okay? And next, the real check is here. So if we have seconds, we will do value equals, I mean, we can even, yeah, we can use all constants. So const, so we can do formatted seconds equals the 2 points and the 0 padded seconds. Next, if we have larger than an hour, we will do the padded minutes plus, so we'll do the hours plus the padded minutes plus the formatted seconds. And otherwise, we will just return the minutes without padding plus formatted seconds. And since formatted seconds is always a string, this will concatenate. And then I can just drop this and drop this. Format the number of seconds to so 0 SS or MSS or MMSS or okay, how to put this? Format a number to seconds. Just put it here, so just so we know, so it will. Yeah, so basically, I think that should be clear enough as documentation. So yeah, if you only have, I can even put something like this. So if you have only 1 digit of seconds, it will have a leading 0 for minutes and 0. Then if you have only seconds, you will still have a leading 0 for minutes. If you have a single minute, it will be shown alone. If you have 2-digit minutes, it will be shown together. And if there are hours, then it will show them like this. And I think that's the YouTube styling. Yep. Let's go back here. What's happening? No, I didn't want to bookmark this. Refresh. So now we have 1:51:21, and now let's start playing the video. Yes, so you can see the time is increasing, and then, yep. And it seems like it's synchronized. I'm not sure if Flarum is synchronizing, not Flarum, but like Firefox. Does it round the time, or does it use the floor of the time? Because it means there is half a second difference for when it actually updates. This will be an interesting thing to study between video players as well, but yeah, for now let's just do this. Let's just look what happens when we go to the end. So what will be the final time? I think it will not reach. I think my implementation will stop at 20 here since it uses floor for the current time, but sail for this one. So maybe I should change it. Just look what will happen. So 19, 20, and yeah, so Firefox shows 21, and not sure what's happening here, but why is it buffering? Yeah, so maybe I should use floor. Yeah, not sure what's the best way to do this is, because yeah, it will be the same thing with the seek feature, because like, should you be able to seek to the 21st second if there is not actually a whole number of seconds between 20 and 21? Yeah, really not sure how to handle that best, but yeah, so we didn't end up doing a lot of CSS at all, but we have almost all the components now to start moving this to a bar above the video. But I'm running out of time, so I will stop here for today. How long have we streamed? 2 hours, 15 minutes, yeah. So I have not even checked how many people watched the replay from last time. So I guess there will be a few people watching this stream on replay this week. I might do other streams next weekend. So if you have any suggestions, comments, you can leave them on the 2 first videos or on the forum. And I will take a look and try to answer them in the next stream. Not sure if I will do Saturday. I will try to do Sunday, I guess, next Sunday. But yeah, let me know what you think of the series. Is it too fast? Is it too slow? What other areas would you like to see explained? Because I will probably do a bit of off-stream progress, because it will take forever to finish if I do the whole thing on stream. But I will try to focus on stuff that's really not interesting to do off stream, and then on stream I will do the things that are most likely to be useful for your own extensions. So that's kind of my idea. So I will probably experiment with the multiple audio and subtitle tracks out of the stream, and then I will show you how it works once I get it working. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this series, and yeah, I think that will be all. There is still no one watching live, so yep, comment under here, comment on the forum. I will read every comment. I think I got spam on my other video. I need to go do some moderation on the comments. I was so happy that someone was finally commenting, and no, it's a sex bot. So yeah, let's stay here with that, and yeah, so I will see you probably next week. Have a nice day or evening or week. Yeah, and see you soon. Bye.